happening to the neighborhood kitchen? Welcome back. I know. I haven't done one of these shows in a while. I've been a little bit busy. Life gets in the way sometimes. So, but I have been getting a lot of requests to, post another one of these videos. People keep saying, Tommy, when you doing another cooking show? So tonight's your lucky day. And boy, do we got a show for you guys today. Unless you just landed on planet Earth, okay, you probably realize that the world is going through a couple, 2-3 things. Like, for example, the coronavirus, otherwise known as the China virus. And that's got a lot of people down in the dumps, believe it or not. They can't go out and do a lot of the same shit that they used to do. Summer's pretty much been a drag. And one of the things that people keep griping about is Chinese food. Everybody's going through Chinese food withdrawal. There's a lot of people out there that are afraid to go to their local takeout joints because, and listen, I don't blame them, okay? I myself haven't been to a Chinese restaurant in 6 months, but I do like Chinese food. So, I have the solution to your problem. Never fear, the doctor's here, and your prescription for tonight is a little Asian persuasion neighborhood style. That's right, I'm going to show you guys how to do your own Chinese food takeout right here at home, okay? So, we're going to do a couple of, takeout favorites, but with, of course, a little Tommy twist at the end. So, we're going to do some Chinese spare ribs and some vegetable fried rice. Now, here's the twist. The fried rice is actually going to be fried cauliflower rice. Now, you could do this recipe with white rice if you like, but you know me, I like to keep it low carb, so we're going to do our version with a little cauliflower rice. You're going to love it. Plus, we're going to do our Chinese spare ribs in the crock pot. That's right, you heard me. I'm going to put ribs in a crock pot. Believe me, if you haven't done this by now, you don't know what you're missing. You do this once, you'll never, ever, ever cook ribs any other way except on a barbecue when you can do it low and slow. So we're going to get to that in a few minutes. But before we get started, of course, I always like to pair whatever the hell we're eating with a cocktail. And tonight's cocktail is one of my originals. I call it the Wuhan Wipeout because you have too many of these and you're going to get wiped out like Wuhan wiped out the rest of the world. So, first we're going to start off with a mixing glass. You're going to put some ice in it, okay? So we want to get a good amount of ice in there. All right. Oops. That's for later. We're going to start with a little spiced rum. I recommend Captain Morgan's, about 1.5 shots. So that's a 6 count on the pour. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And a little Cointreau. About 1/2 shot. All right. Now to that, we're going to add about 1 ounce of pineapple juice. All right. I'm going to use the measurer because I want to get this exact. Otherwise, you can eyeball it too. Then we're going to add, got to keep that up there, about 1/2 ounce of lime juice, okay? So we're using a lot of citrus because in China, they like citrus, believe it or not, okay? Then about 1 ounce of lemonade. Okay. All right, there you go. And we're going to use 1 ounce of grenadine syrup. A lot of people ask me, Tommy, what the hell is grenadine syrup? Most people think this is like a cherry syrup. Actually, it's not. It's a pomegranate syrup, which pomegranates play very heavily into Chinese cuisine and culture. So it's very apropos for tonight's cocktail. So we're going to do about 1 ounce of this. Okay, it's a little on the sweet side, but it's going to give it that nice bright red color that we're looking for. So we're going to give it a little shake. Look at that, huh? Okay, and then we're going to strain it over some fresh ice. And I'm going to top it with a little grapefruit club soda. If you don't have grapefruit flavored club soda, you could go with regular, it doesn't matter. I figure give it a little bit of that extra citrusy splash. All right. Get a straw, give it a zhuzh, and now a taste. Ooh. That'll do you good. But like I said, too many of those, you'll get wiped out like Wuhan. So, now that we got our cocktail ready, on to our ribs. So tonight what we're going to use is, now if you've had Chinese spare ribs, I'm sure. I mean, I personally don't like Chinese spare ribs. I like the flavor. I just don't like what the hell to do to the ribs. They cook them over direct heat in a broiler until they're like shoe leather. So you get a nice little flavor from the barbecue sauce, but it's like you're gnawing on bones. The meat's all tough and charred. It's not good eating, okay? So tonight what we're going to do is we're going to go with a baby back rib. Now typically when I make ribs, like on a barbecue, I like a St. Louis style rib. It's a little bigger, it's a little meatier. It holds up to that low and slow cooking better. It's got a little bit more fat to it, so it renders out better. Whenever I use baby back ribs, I typically like to do them in something like a crock pot or maybe the oven or something like that. Or even like when I make gravy, you know, Sunday gravy, I always put a couple baby backs in there. Learned that trick from my grandmother. So, tonight we're going to use some baby back ribs. They're smaller than the St. Louis style ribs. They're a little bit more on the tender side, not as fatty, but man, they are good eating, especially if you you treat them right. So we're gonna get tonight's baby back. We're gonna get the baby back ribs. We're gonna you know, peel the silver skin just like we do with regular ribs, and we're gonna cook them in our crock pot. So check this out. Okay, so we got our baby back ribs all prepared and ready to be marinated. So as you can see, actually you can't see, but now you can. As you can see, I took my baby backs and I took the silver skin off, and then I cut them down. Since these are going into the crock pot and they're going to be marinated, I broke them down like 3 bones a piece, and I just cut it with the knife. So it fits nice in the crock pot, it sits nice in the bag, and it absorbs more of the marinade. So, get your zip top bag, and we're going to put our baby backs in here, okay? All right. And again, the baby back is a nice tender cut of rib. All right, now we got the components for our marinade. So this is going to be an Asian style marinade, Chinese style marinade. So I'm going to start off with a little hoisin sauce. This is Chinese barbecue sauce. Okay, so we're going to get a couple of good tablespoons of that in there. Okay, this stuff's pretty potent, so go easy. We're going to use a little soy sauce. All right, just for a little salt. So a couple little drizzles of that. Nothing crazy. Again, this is powerful stuff too, and this is the all natural stuff, not that imitation crap. We're going to hit it with a little drizzle of honey, because, you know, a little sweetness goes a long way, but we don't want to go too crazy, because watch what I got coming up. So a little honey, okay? Nice. Now, we got our Emerald style Asian essence, okay? This is good. It's a combination of Chinese 5-spice, a couple other Asian delights, all right? Just a little bit more of that. So you can figure about teaspoon and a half. Okay. Now, I like my ribs a little spicy, so I'm going to kick them up a little bit. I'm going to add about figure about a half a teaspoon of crushed chili flakes. All right. We're going to add about 7 or 8 cloves of smashed garlic. All right. Why cheap out on the garlic? A half a sliced onion. Okay, there we go. And to top it all off, one of my favorite little marinating secrets, some Coca-Cola. It's going to tenderize the ribs, break it down, and give it that nice Chinese takeout style taste. Okay? So there you go. And it's going to emulsify the hoisin sauce and everything else. So we want to give it a little squeeze. Okay, careful, because that soda is going to explode if you squeeze it too fast. Press all the air out. Okay. All right, and give it a good shake. Get your ribs nice and rubbed down. Get all those flavors together. Okay. Rub that garlic and onion in there. And there you go. Can you imagine getting massaged with a nice little marinade like this? Again, food foreplay. All right. Now, it's ready to go into the chill chest, and we'll see this tomorrow morning when we put it in our crock pot. Okay, so I've had my ribs marinating overnight in the chill chest, and they're ready to go into the crock pot. So real simple. Now, you're going to give them about 6 hours because it's a half a rack of ribs. If I was doing a full rack, I'd probably go about 8 hours. So like two full racks, you can get it done in about 8 hours. But 6 is good on this. I want it to still have a little chew. Oh, if you could smell that. Wow. Okay, so before I get my ribs into the crock pot, what I want to do is, I need a spoon. I want to get a little bit of that marinade just down at the bottom, just to keep it wet, just to keep it from sticking to the bottom of the pot. Nothing crazy, just a couple little spoonfuls of this stuff. Okay. All right. I want to get some of that garlic out of there. All right. So just to keep it wet on the bottom, because the fat on the ribs is going to render out. So we don't want to put too much of the marinade in there for 2 reasons. 1, I don't want soup. And 2, I'm going to save some of that marinade and make a barbecue sauce with it. So we want to get our ribs in there. Okay. They absorbed a lot of that marinade, which is good. So just get them down in there. Fat side up. Okay. All right. I'm telling you, ribs in a crock pot are just a magical thing. Okay, so we want to just get this here. Get some of that excess garlic off because we don't want to kill anybody. We just want the flavor. All right. Okay. There you go. And there you have it. Now the rest of this I'm going to strain out, and I'm going to use it as the base of a sauce. All right. And I'm going to put the lid on this and let it go for 6 hours on low. And there you go. Pretty simple. So, see you when these are done. Okay, so I got a couple cups of that marinade that I had left over, which I'm just simmering in a pot right now, which is the Coca-Cola, the hoisin sauce, the soy sauce. And I just want to let this reduce by 1/3. So I figure about 2 cups. All right, that'll do you. So it's starting to reduce down a little bit. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple little extra ingredients to this to just further enhance it. So what I want to do is I want to first start with a little apple cider vinegar. Okay, you could use rice wine vinegar if you want to really keep it Asian, but we're going to go with a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Smells good. We want that acid to cut through some of the sweetness of the Coca-Cola. And I'm just going to measure with the cap. Why not? So we'll put about 1, maybe 1.5 capfuls. Okay? Just to get that little tang in there. Because we're going to add some other richness to it. Now we're going to add some of our hoisin sauce. Like I said, this is a Chinese barbecue sauce. It's pretty pungent. So I'm going to add about 1/2 cup. Typically when you get mushu pork, this is the sauce they give you. So a little hoisin. So you're going to work that in there. Okay. You want to get that all incorporated nice. Okay, this is going to really fortify this little glaze or this little barbecue sauce that we're going to put on our ribs after we pull them out of the crock pot. Woo! Lord have mercy. Look at this nice, look at that. Look at how beautiful that looks. I mean, that's a nice rich mahogany color. That's only going to get better, baby. Okay? So now we got our hoisin worked in there nicely. Okay? And it's thickening up pretty good. And we're going to add a little bit of that grenadine syrup. That's what gives that nice red, rich color. You ever get, when you get Chinese ribs, they have that nice red color to them? Here we go. So we're going to add about 1 ounce of that. Not too crazy. Okay? So it turns it a nice burgundy color. It's going to add a little bit of sweetness to it. Oh man, this is going to be out of sight. Okay? So we're going to let this simmer a little bit. Taste it. Oh, yeah. That is spot on. Now we're just going to let this simmer just to get all the flavors incorporated. And then we're going to thicken it with a cornstarch slurry. Which, if you don't know what that is, I'm going to show you how to make that in a second. Okay, so to do a slurry, a cornstarch slurry, very simple. First of all, you need a couple components. You need some cornstarch and some ice cold water. You never want to add the cornstarch to the hot liquid because what happens is it'll clump up and then you got a mess. So you always want to add cold to hot. So I'm going to take about a teaspoon of cornstarch, put in this little mixing bowl here. I'm going to add maybe about a tablespoon of water. You always want, oops, a little splash there. You always want about a 2 to 1. Okay? So we got our little baby whisk. Isn't that cute? Alright, we're just going to whisk this up until it looks like milk. Alright? See? Pretty simple. Now we're going to add that to our hot liquid. Smelling like an authentic Chinese kitchen in here. I'm telling you, you guys. I wish you guys had smell. I wish you could smell it through the computer. All right, so we got our sauce that's just kind of simmering along here. Okay, and it's actually starting to get a little thick on its own. See? It's actually going to coat the back of a spoon. So I may not use this entire slurry. I might use half of it. So I'm just going to add a little bit. Okay, that's it. We don't want to mess with it. Okay. Now when this comes to a boil, it'll hit its full thickening power. So just stir it up a little bit. Okay. And just let it simmer. Like I said, when it starts to boil, that's when the cornstarch does its magic. Like I said, we didn't even need a lot of it. We just needed just half of that. So sometimes you got to eyeball things. Okay, look at that. That's getting nice and thick already. See, you want it to coat the back of a spoon. That's what you want to see. Wow, that tastes just like Chinese takeout, only 1,000 times better. Whew, I cannot wait to put this on our ribs. Next, we're gonna move on to our fried rice. Okay, so next up, a cauliflower fried rice. Now this is a treat. I really do enjoy this. Like I said, you could do this recipe exactly the same way. Just substitute white rice for the cauliflower rice. But listen, keep it low carb. It's still summertime. You still gotta look nice in a swimsuit. All right. So I steamed my cauliflower in the microwave. Okay. Buy these. Go to the store. You buy them in these little nifty bags. You put them in the microwave 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and they're ready to go. You let it sit for a minute. It's hot. So I got my wok sitting on top of my stove getting hot. Okay, you always want to add your oil to a hot wok. Now, if you don't have a wok, don't freak out. Don't run out and buy one. A deep 12-inch skillet will work just fine. Okay? Don't try this at home, kids. All right, so that thing's hot. All right, so you take your vegetable oil, and you want to go around the perimeter, okay? You want to see it ribbon up like that. Now, what I'm going to do to that, I'm going to add some onion first, okay? So I got some medium diced onion. Use whatever kind you like. I'm using a Vidalia. Okay? And we're going to give this a little kick around. So we want to get these sauteed up. And I know this seems like a lot of oil, but don't worry, because there's a lot of other stuff that's going into this. The one thing about Chinese cooking is they do a lot of one-pot cooking, and they do it in layers, and they do it in such a way that everything at the end comes out perfect. So the trick to stir fry, or the trick to Chinese cooking, is a little culinary French word that's called mise en place, which means everything in its place. You have to have all your ingredients prepped out first. I have my onions prepped. I have all my vegetables prepped, so it's just dump and go. All right. So our onions are starting to saute. So I want to sweat them. I don't want to caramelize them. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt to that. So I add a little pinch of kosher salt. Okay. It's like fusion cooking. You got kosher salt, Chinese ingredients, onions from Georgia. I mean, it's a friggin' melting pot over here. That's what New York used to be until Mayor Muppet Hands fucked that all up. All right. So our onions are starting to get translucent. Now I'm going to add some bell pepper. Now, this is optional. You could use whatever color peppers you like. I went with a red pepper. You can use orange, yellow, green. It adds a little color. Typically, you don't find bell pepper in fried rice, but it's my show. I do it the way I like. So I'm going to add about maybe half of that. I save the rest of this for tomorrow. I make an omelet with peppers and eggs. Nice. All right. So we want our peppers and onions to get nice and sauteed. Look how fun that looks. It's like confetti. All right. So get these going. And when the peppers just start to get tender, all right, you see they're leaching their color a little bit, making the oil a nice little crimson, a little orange. All right. Now I'm going to add my cauliflower. And careful, this shit's hot. Okay. Now, here we go. So we give this a little toss. You do it like they do in the Chinese takeout. Okay, isn't that nice? Now, you want to lower the heat on your wok a little bit to about medium. We don't want to burn this. So we're going to add to that some seasonings, some more of that Chinese essence. Okay. Little Asian essence, give it a nice little flavor. Impart those nice Asian in. Oh, once that hits the heat, man, I'm gonna add a little hot pepper to that. Yeah, why not? This is optional, of course, but you know, I like things a little ticked up. Now, you never wonder why fried rice always has that brown color? Here's the trick. Soy sauce, okay? That's why you want to take it easy on the salt here. So we're going to add a little soy sauce to this. That's it. Oh man, that smells delicious. And you just want to make sure this gets coated nice, okay? I mean, does that look like fried rice or what? Now wait, the best part. I'm going to push my rice off to the side. I'm going to make like a little well here, okay? I'll show you why in a second. Here comes the fun part. You want to get as much of the cauliflower out of the way. Alright? I got a couple of eggs that I scrambled up over here. Okay, they whisked them up nice. So you want about 2 eggs. I mean, typically you should use 1. I like the extra little protein punch. Now season your eggs. I don't understand why people don't do this. Okay? I don't know where you get your chickens from, but where mine come from, they don't lay seasoned eggs. Alright? So, before we add our eggs in there, get a little bit more vegetable oil right in the middle so your eggs don't stick. Alright? And then there you go. Look at that. Okay? Beautiful. Give it a second and just keep them moving. We're going to scramble up our eggs right in the middle of our rice. Okay? You might want to jack the heat up just a little bit so these eggs cook quick. I mean, we're not making breakfast, we're making fried rice. Alright, there you go. Look at that. It's starting to come together nicely. Alright? And we pushed our cauliflower up to the top so it doesn't burn. I like to just, there we go. Look at that. Alright, perfect. Now, toss it all together. You make like a little... It's like confetti. It's like food confetti. Look at this. Woo! I'm telling you, you start doing this stuff at home, you'll never go back to a Chinese restaurant. Why would you? Okay, low carb, corona free. I mean, and you don't have to go nowhere. You don't have to schlep. And no salt, no MSG. YouTube people are gonna hate me for that one, but that's okay. Fuck them. All right, fried rice is done. Now, let's get to our ribs. So our ribs have been just getting happy in this crock pot for about the last 6 hours. So while we were doing our rice and our sauce, I had it set to warm, but oh my God. Ooh, Lord child. It's gonna put some starch in that collar, you know. Alright, so check these out. Look at this, look at that. See? Look at this. You see how the ribs, the meat's pulling away from the bone? Those are gonna be super, super fork tender. Okay? Okay, so like I said, I didn't go too nuts, just a little half rack of ribs here. Alright? Just getting happy in their own juices like that. Okay. Look at that. Okay, beautiful. And whatever's left in there that's fat, we're just going to discard that. Turn that off. Now comes the fun part. We're going to take that nice Chinese barbecue sauce that we made. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, do it to me. Come on. Oh. Oh. This is like a Chinese orgasm here. I'm just gonna just slather our ribs with this sauce. My God, I want to pour this on my face. It's like 1,000 degrees. Okay. I'm gonna get a little bit of a brush here and just make sure it's nicely distributed. Paint the ribs. Okay. Oh, don't worry, we're gonna get the other side. No, 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 no. Who wants one-sided tasting ribs? Yeah, this is gonna make a mess, but who gives a shit? I'm in tight with the cleaning lady, you know. So let's give this a little flip. Get the other side. Oh yeah, baby. Okay. That's it. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me. Oh. You can't hear it, but these ribs are going, girl. Ooh, child, just drizzle hot sauce all over my titties. Ooh, girl, he crazy. Who would have thought a Getty from Brooklyn could make Chinese food, right? So there you go. So we're gonna brush our ribs. Nice and nice. All right, look at that. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Okay. So put that over there. Where's my tongs? Put them back over. Yeah, these ribs are just screaming for a fork. Okay. Now we're gonna plate this all up, and you're gonna see this whole little Chinese New Year happen right in front of your face. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're all plated up, as you can see. I'm gonna tilt the plate up. Look at that. Got my ribs, my Chinese fried rice, my Wuhan Wipeout. Ooh, that's good. So let's dig in and try this, huh? Let's munch. Oh, look at those ribs. They fall right off. They fall right off the bone. Better than any Chinese spare ribs you'll ever find. And for our fried rice, lights out. This is why I don't go to Chinese takeout no more. They can't do it better than this. So, I'm gonna get my manjan, Asian style. This has been another episode of the Neighborhood Kitchen. Thanks for stopping in, and I'll see you when I see you.